Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our fourth stop of the App Makers Tour of Europe. And this time we are in Spain.
Our members are small app developers and tech SMEs who create wonderfully creative solutions that increase the efficiency and make people's lives better in Europe and all over the world. Some of these emerging companies could even become future European digital champions. The proposed Digital Markets Act will create new obligations for gatekeeping platforms, but these obligations won't just affect the big platforms. They will affect everybody in the ecosystem. They'll have far-reaching consequences for all the businesses that operate on these platforms, regardless of their size.
Apart from efficiency, we've got the second principle that it's very important for us, and it's legal certainty and predictability. This means predictability for all players in the application of the regulation. We are always thinking about how to improve transparency and how to be sure that the SMEs and the app developers are going to have enough information on how the obligation should be applied. We should provide room to adapt these obligations in a way to the different situations. I mean, to evolve of markets without going again to the legislative power to reset the whole set. But at the same time, we think that it's very important to be conscious that when we give powers to adapt the different obligations, we are not depriving the legislative power of its role itself. So we should look for a proper balance.
Well, first, we need good diagnosis and targeted intervention to the problems that we diagnose. And secondly, we have, even accepting that competition law itself may not be sufficient to deal with all the challenges, it is still the most useful mechanism to address some of the challenges. So, and I would say most of the challenges, even in the digital world. So whatever new instrument, whatever new tools, we should keep the efficacy of the existing ones untouched. There is an obvious risk of over-enforcement with the DMA. If we apply these rules in a very extensive manner, be it in a subjective or an objective dimension, then we may be over-enforcing. What I mean is, if gatekeepers are defined too broadly, or if the practices that are part of the obligations and prohibitions of the DMA are also very, very broad, then we may risk prohibiting conduct that is netly, in net terms, efficient, or we may be hampering innovation. I mean, I think the overall message is we really need to be sure that the practices and that the subjects of the obligations are the ones that we want to cover and not go beyond that, because otherwise we may be over-enforcing.
Consumer trust is today, and trust for business users as well, is essential. It's actually an essential component behind the success of the online ecosystems, and whereas it's on a cloud service or app stores, and consumers or business users do need to know if their personal information or business data is safe when using online services. So the DMA recommends that gatekeepers allow the effective use of third-party software with their cloud computing services, or that could also take the place into mobile environment with the installation of third-party app stores or sideloading of apps, provided that they do not endanger the integrity of the service of the gatekeeper. So are there, to your knowledge, any risk associated with those potential measures?
Obviously, yes. There is a big risk involved, because being part of the software development industry, I doubt that there will be sufficient testing on these third-party apps, not managed by the original, let's say, the original platform, the original landscape where they're supposed to work, to make sure that they cannot damage our clients. So right now, if you want to publish an application, let's say a mobile application, any of the platforms, they had to follow very strict procedures to make sure they're safe. And even so, you can see surprises sometimes, right? But if you allow, let's say, side loading of applications to complement your applications without any further testing of them, other than whether they damage the gatekeeper infrastructure or not, I'll be concerned by that myself. I'll be very concerned by that.